Okay, one of the things that my students frequently ask me is who must pay taxes? Basically, the answer to that question is everybody must pay taxes. If you are working and making an income, then you will have to pay income taxes to the federal government and to your state government. This has been going on since the beginning of time. This is nothing new. This is how governments make their money so that they could provide the necessary services to keep that government running. One of the things that my students frequently ask me is, what if they are still living at home and their parents are paying taxes and their parents have claimed the students as a dependent, a qualified dependent? The answer to that question is yes, you still have to pay taxes even if you're a teenager who's living at home, but you're working and you're still dependent upon you're still a dependent on the tax form of your parents. You're still going to have to pay income taxes. As a matter of fact, even if you're 14 or 15, you will have to pay. When you start working, you will fill out a W-4 form. Your employer will provide that form to you. This is a W-4 form, and this is where you will indicate whether you're married, single or married, filing separately, married, filing jointly, or head of household with a qualified dependent who's living with you, and that you pay the expenses for that dependent. Now, based upon whatever it is that you've checked on that form, your employer is going to use that information to determine how much taxes to take out of your paycheck. We really still don't know exactly if they've taken out the right amount. So therefore, everybody has to do this once a year before April 15th. Everybody must file a federal income tax return and a state income tax return. This is your federal income tax return. Now, this will have to be filled out prior to April 15th. What you want to do, you want to go ahead and fill this one out first, the federal first. Then, when you fill out your state income tax return is going to ask questions about what you put down on your federal return. So go ahead and do your federal first. See, down here at the bottom, you're going to notice it's going to say amount that you owe. This indicates that your employer has not been taking enough out of your check each week or each month. And you'll have to put that there, and then you're going to have to indicate how you're going to pay this. Again, I do recommend that you pay it quickly and be done with it. Don't ignore it. That's going to cause you all kinds of problems later if you ignore this. Pay it and go back and look at your W-4. Have your employer begin taking a little bit more money out each week or each month so that you won't have to go through this again. If you have actually paid more than you're supposed to, then you will get a refund, and that's going to go right here on this line. Most people do get refunds. I personally have my employer take out the maximum amount of taxes so that I don't have to worry about whether or not I have to pay at the end of the year. As a matter of fact, I always look forward to getting a fairly nice size tax refund from the federal and the state government. Okay, this is an example of your state income tax return. They have it set up now where you can actually do this online. This is a PDF filler. I would recommend that you have somebody do this for you. You may want to do it maybe the first couple of times, but I would recommend at least having somebody help you to do this. Even if you've been doing it for a number of years, hire somebody, a tax consultant, to help you to do this. Because if you don't, you may end up not receiving as much money back as you could have. If you have somebody who knows what they're doing and who knows what type of deductions they can take for you, you're probably going to get more money back than you would have if you had done this on your own. I personally have the State Employee Credit Union do this for me. They charge me a fee of $75, and I always get more back than if I had done it myself because they know all kinds of deductions that I can take, which I may not be familiar with. They're professionals. Okay, this is a sample W-2 form. Your employer is required to give you one of these forms around January each year. Then you have up until April to get your tax returns finalized, and you will use this form to do that. If you're doing your taxes yourself, you're going to need this form to fill out your federal and state taxes. And if you're hiring somebody else to do your taxes for you, they will need this form to fill out your federal and your state taxes. So this is important. Do not lose this form. This is a very important form. This is where you're going to start the process of filing your income tax returns. Let's take a look at this one. Wages and tips up here, gross pay prior to your taxes being taken out. They have the amount that your employer withheld as federal income tax. This is your Social Security income tax. The federal government takes this out and they save it for you. So when you're old, they're going to give you a Social Security check after you turn 65. You have your Medicare and Medicaid. Those are taxes as well. And down here, you have your state income tax. This is what your employer has taken out for state income taxes. These are the numbers that you're going to look at here. When you start filing your taxes, basically, you're going to look at this number here, and you're going to compare it to a chart, which I'm about to show you, that indicates what you were required to pay. If your employer has taken out too much, then you'll get a refund. If your employer has not taken out enough, then you're going to have to pay. Same thing down here for state income tax return. you're going to use a chart to determine how much you are required to pay. If your employer has taken out too much, then you will get a refund. And if your employer has not taken out enough, then you will be required to pay. After you find your gross pay, then you or whoever's doing your taxes for you is going to go to a chart that looks like this right here. They're going to find right here what you've made in this area somewhere. It's going to be at least but less than. Once they find your number of your total income, they're going to go over like this. They're going to find your filing status: single, married, filing jointly, married, filing separately, or head of household. Then they're going to come down. That's going to indicate what you are required to pay for taxes. Now, they're going to compare that number to the number. By the way, this is for federal. There's one just like it for state. However, they're going to compare this number to how much you actually paid on your W-2 form. If you overpaid the federal government, then you have to get a refund. You'll indicate that on your tax return. If you did not pay enough, then you will be required to make up the difference. You'll have to pay the federal government or the state government. Again, I do recommend that you do that quickly, get it out of the way, be done with it, and then go back and modify your W-4 so you don't have to pay again. You don't want to do that. You want to get a refund back.